Please welcome Morgan.
I'll show the table. April 12th, it's my birthday. It comes back on my birthday. I'm so excited. I've told just about all of you that already. Cool, so I'm going to read something, and it has a bit of a preamble. I feel like every time I read this fictional story, I want to tell the real story behind it. So a couple years ago, I was in this super dark place. Everyone in my family was super sick. I just got out of this relationship. I just moved across the country. And then I found out that my grandmother died. And so my dad and I were like, we want to do something that makes us not think about things. So we saw Thor 2, because naturally that's like what you do when people die, you see Thor 2. So we're driving. It's okay to laugh, this is really weird. So I like heard some like hesitant laughs, it's okay. So we are going to Robinson, we're gonna go see the movie, and I'm looking out the window and I'm feeling all the like looking out the window feelings when you're like thinking about your life and you're like whatever, I don't know, you feel like really dramatic. And I see on the side of the road someone has taken a deer head, no deer body, deer head, and impaled it on one of those reflective pole things. And I was just like, really? Like at this moment, life, like this is what you're gonna give me right now? Like I'm like hoping for some inspiration or something, and no, it's just like Game of Thrones style, a deer head. And I was like real sad, and so then I was like, I have to write about this, because it was also weird. And it turned into a story that was pretty great. So Angie, one of the professors here, always says that nothing bad can ever happen to a writer, because it always turns into a story. So I think this is a really good example of that. So that's my long preamble. I'm going to read you the very end of this story. It's called Maybe I Need This. And so far in the story, the main character, Melanie, has found the creepy deer head. She finds it on the way to her mother's funeral. She comes back to Tallahassee after the funeral and runs into this creepy hunter who lives in her building. His name is Johnny. She's scared of him, but she's also intrigued by him. She suspects he's the one who killed the deer. She's also just had dinner with her boyfriend, Carl, who sucks. I feel like that's the best way to sum up like 4 pages. Why didn't I just write that? I think that's all you need to know. So I'm going to read the real thing now. It's 3:30 in the morning and I am not fine. The bedroom is too warm and Carl is snoring and I can't sleep. His arms are around me, pinning me to his body. His chest is hot and sticky, a pillow I can't flip over to the cold side. I feel stagnant, trapped. Earlier, when we had sex, his body pinned me to the bed, the oppressive weight of him not unlike the southern heat. Something I couldn't escape, something that choked me. Thrust after thrust, short ones, the ones that don't make it all the way to my bones, to my core, perfectly timed like a metronome, passionless. He doesn't look at me anymore, doesn't touch me, keeps his hands firmly on my shoulders. I can hear his breathing, wheezy and asthmatic, and he smells like soap. The weight of him, no matter how unstimulating, used to make me feel safe, protected. I couldn't understand when it changed or when I had. I open my eyes for a moment and see the deer staring at me, just inches from my face, as if I've been sleeping between it and Carl, as if it was the reason I feel so hot, so closed in, so trapped. I wriggle out of Carl's arms and put a pillow in the place where my body was, trying not to wake him. I put on flip-flops, pad out of the building, sit on the ground, and stare out at the still dark morning. The 2 stray cats that live in the complex are fighting. One doesn't have a tail, so we call him Nubs. The other one doesn't have a name, but does have a tail. He's just called Nubs' brother. They howl and tumble through the bushes. Behind me, there's the metallic sound of the front lobby doors slamming, and then Johnny walks across the parking lot, a duffel bag over each shoulder. He opens the truck door and swings his bags up into the back. He looks larger this morning somehow, and the skin on the back of my neck prickles. When I was a child, my mother told me that women had a built-in sixth sense and could always tell when something bad was going to happen, when someone might hurt them. If a woman got hurt, it was her fault. It meant she didn't follow the rules. It meant she didn't listen. I dismiss the prickling. She's wrong. I can do this. I need to do this. I want to go with you, I say. Hop in. We've been driving for about 15 minutes and had just left town and pulled onto one of the many dusty back roads that lead out of Tallahassee. He plays twangy country music on the radio, not the new poppy shit, but the old stuff that it's difficult not to like. The stuff with feeling. I've been silent up until now, alternately picking at my nails and running through the expert advice I remember from those Oprah episodes about avoiding being kidnapped or raped or murdered. I am pretty sure I have already broken most of the rules, just as I am also pretty sure that rule breaking is the point of the entire excursion. Johnny looks over at me, furrows his brow. Why'd you change your mind about hunting? I don't know, I say. How do I explain the feeling of my lungs constricting, the walls closing in on me? I needed to do something. He nods as if this is a common feeling, one he understands. Pink light peeks over the edges of the trees. Carl will be waking up soon. I wonder how soon he'll start to worry, wonder if he'll call the police. There was a deer head on the highway, I say. Carl looks away from the road and into my eyes. His face softens. With his mouth closed, he looks like the cowboys in stupid old movies, wrinkly men who are only pretending to be stern until they meet a lost Indian princess or a wounded horse. I thought you might have seen that. You didn't do it, I ask. His brows furrow. No, buried it though. Some of these rednecks treat hunting like it's a sport. I was brought up to think it's something sacred. They're dying so you can live. Circle of life, all that hippie shit. I lean my head against the window. The glass is cool. I look for deer, hopefully alive, but only see the rush of green as we pass miles of trees. In about 20 minutes, when Johnny's car shudders to a stop, he bangs his hand loudly against the dash. Hey, Sleeping Beauty, he hollers, we're here. He takes a rifle out of one of the bags and back, packs a smaller backpack from items in the 2 duffel bags, and then manually locks the doors to his truck. Can't use the clicker, he whispers. We've got to be quiet now that we're out of the car. He leads me down a narrow, overgrown path. The forest is jungle-like with its swaths of Spanish moss and tangles of kudzu, and the air already buzzes with the sounds of cicadas and mosquitoes. We walk for a long time, stopping periodically for Johnny to listen and look around, animal-like in his attentiveness. Suddenly, Johnny grabs me. There, see it? He whispers urgently. I follow his pointed finger to find a soft brown blur among the greens ahead. Are you going to kill it? I ask. He shakes his head. You are. I hadn't thought about killing something myself. I hadn't really thought that far ahead. I figured I'd just follow Johnny and figure out if he was the deer beheader and maybe have some existential epiphany about Carl or about my mother or about myself like those girls do in coming-of-age movies on Lifetime. I never imagined killing something. My heart thumps along with the forest's incessant buzzing. Don't I need a license or safety training, I ask? I look at his attire which, while messy, seems much more appropriate than my pajamas and sandals. Or gear or something, I add. I won't tell, Johnny whispers and hands me his rifle. He leans over me and presses his body against my back. I can feel all of him, the softness of his belly and the hardness between his thighs. I try to scoot forward, try to get away, but the space is too small and he only pushes harder against me. I feel his breath on my ear and hear the sucking sound of him chewing tobacco, followed by the hard spit of it into the grass. Aim, he says, wrapping his arms around me and guiding the rifle into place. I can smell his sweat. My hands shake a little, so he grips me tighter. I remember learning about boa constrictors in high school biology, how they don't kill with venom, how they squeeze their prey to death before eating it. I don't want to kill the deer. I like deer. I like animals in general, really, and I like life. I don't want to take it away from something else, especially something with big glassy eyes like that deer on the highway. But at the same time, maybe I need this. I need power among death's unstoppable charge. I need to control something, anything. And Johnny is at my back, and Johnny is every man I've hated, but also still needed in my life and not known why. Maybe I need to show Johnny this too. Maybe I need to show my mother. I am fine, I am fierce, but maybe I am not. The deer looks at me. It is brown and big-eyed and slight. It pricks up its ears. I don't know if it sees us, or hears us, or smells us, or just senses someone out there wanting to hurt it. Fire, he says. I squeeze the trigger.